Hello and welcome to this video where we will be doing this incredible lab intro to Azure Recon with BloodHound. Now I'm guessing we should be using BloodHound, so we'll do that. This lab seems to be very interesting in that I'm pretty sure they are going to be using AzureHound in order to enumerate Azure through BloodHound. So we'll be doing that as well. Let's get this lab started. Amazing. So right off the bat, we're dealing with an assumed breach, and we got some creds for us to use. So let's go ahead and insert these creds into the portal and see what we can find. Amazing. So we have just signed in, and we see a few things here. Most certainly, the only resource we have visibility over right now, in the recents at least, is the security PC. So that seems quite cool. Let's take a look at that. Amazing. So this security PC is actually running right now, so we might be looking at some kind of host compromise. Incredible. Taking a look at the information here. See the networking settings. Oh, we don't have access to the networking settings. Possibly we could see if there's some kind of IP, maybe get an Nmap scan out, see if we can connect to it. Okay, so it has a local IP range, but can't seem to find any external IP for us to scan or do anything with. All right, well, you know what? Let's see if these creds can do anything for let's see if we can connect through CLI to these credentials. Yeah, we can't even use Bastion. So let's go ahead and open up a PowerShell here. And also on Linux itself, we can see if we can go into our pen testing commands and see if we can use AZ login. Looking through my commands here. All right, let's see if we've logged in yet. It's still loading, so it must be some kind of problem. All right, maybe we can log in through this way. Using device code. All right, so we already have Joe's. Amazing. So we can log in through AZ. All right, so I forgot the command here. AZ resource list. Amazing. So we found again security PC. Now we've already found that through the GUI, so not much more information than that. Actually, let's go ahead and use az-get, or the get az here on our PowerShell. Connect az account dash account ID. So let's go ahead and use that. And we'll also connect that to mggraph just for fun. Great, we are in. So let's get az resource. Amazing. So that is 3 ways where we just found that we have access to this security PC. Now, before we delve into the security PC a bit more, let's go ahead and get some situational awareness. I know that the lab itself involves BloodHound because the name of the lab literally has BloodHound. But before we get into BloodHound, let's use another situational awareness tool that I really like to use, which is RoadRecon. So let's go ahead and see if we can use RoadRecon here. And I got the commands already set up for us to use. This is not where you use it, not in PowerShell. Okay, let's skip the caps. Oh, looks like we need a troubleshoot. Okay, so I'm on my Ubuntu here because it wasn't working very well on my Pwned OS for some reason. But let's see if it works over here. I'm gonna give it some time. All right, it does seem like it's gathering now, so that's great. So RoadRecon is a great tool for enumeration, both in initial access and throughout the entire engagement, because you can always go back to it, as I'll show you. It provides you with a full overview of all the users and service accounts, everything, and you can keep going back to it ever like whenever you get any new access, whenever you want to confirm an attack chain, whenever you want to confirm the details or the connections between users and roles and things like that. You can keep using RoadRecon throughout the entire assessment. So it's really incredible. And as you can see here, it also shows the policies, which will caps and allows and all of these things we'll get into in a later video. But here's the dashboard for RoadRecon, and as you can see, it's already showing you the database statistics here. We have 92 users, and this is showing you the full-blown extent of the entire environment, the entire Azure environment that you get to hack on Pwned Labs, which is pretty cool. 578 service principals. So lots and lots of things here to play around with throughout all of the labs that you do. That's why RoadRecon is so powerful. Now, let's go ahead and see our user Joe's. Okay, YOLO MFA, default directory, IT help desk. So this is kind of interesting. It says that it has a group membership in IT help desk. So let's click on that and see what it does. Grants help desk staff access to resources. All right, so I can't really tell what resources we have access to, but I'll take that as a hint that this is kind of probably the attack path. All right, asset update group allowing help desk staff to update asset records inventory. Okay, that doesn't seem too valuable. Well, this is great, and we might use RoadRecon again throughout this lab. However, for now, I don't think it's giving us too much information. Let's go ahead and use what this lab was intended to do, which was teach us about BloodHound. So let's go ahead and use BloodHound. I have the commands to set up BloodHound here on my right screen. So let's go ahead and use it. Let's get the YML to begin. Amazing. So we got the YML. Now let's start it up, shall we? Now, while this is starting up, I just wanted to mention how crucially valuable BloodHound is for your assessments and engagements. Like, not only can you navigate just entire worlds of environments, like some customers, some clients, you're going to find they have thousands and thousands of objects and users and groups and resources. It's going to be impossible for you to navigate something like RoadRecon or use manual enumeration. Whereas if you were to use BloodHound, you could quickly find the attack paths or find a shortcut to the domain admin that you would otherwise spend, days and days trying to find manually. Not only that, but it's interestingly aesthetic to include into your reports. When you utilize BloodHound graphs into your reports showing images and screenshots, it gives the IT team or even the blue team a visual understanding of what's going on. So instead of reading and reading and reading through security paperwork that you wrote for them, they could see this nice little image of how the users connect to the roles or the resources and how the compromise takes place. So it's very convenient for your client for you to utilize the graphs as images in your report. All right, so let's go to the BloodHound portal, which I have here. Log into my BloodHound. By the way, if you're logging in for the first time, you're going to be using a temporary credential, which will appear in the output itself. So within this output, if you're logging in for the first time using the steps that I've done, you'll find temporary credentials to log in, forcing you to change it to your own credentials. And now that we're here, I do need to do one thing real quick, which is database management. I need to delete my current database and replace it with the new one that we will make here in a second. All right, so now that we're here, let's go ahead and download the collector. We're not going to be using SharpHound for an Active Directory. We're going to be using AzureHound for this Azure environment. All right, so I've already unzipped mine. Let's see where I unzipped it. I kind of forgot. Oh, by the way, in order for us to collect using AzureHound, we do need the tenant ID. So by curling this endpoint, specifying megabigtech.com, we should be able to get the tenant ID. All right, so as you can see here, in the issuer parameter, you can see that we have the tenant ID right here. And so we can copy paste that into the command, the later that we'll use, the AzureHound command. The AzureHound command will be using this tenant ID. So we'll be using, so we should be copying this somewhere. All right, so here's where I unzipped my AzureHound. Okay, so here's our AzureHound. Now let me make it bigger for you guys to see the command as to how you use this AzureHound binary. Now, if you're wondering why there are a couple directories, is because when you download AzureHound, this, and you unzip it, there's going to be multiple different AzureHounds for you to use depending on the operating system that you're on. So let me show you. As you can see here, we have Linux, AMD, which is what we're going to be using. We have ARM, and we have Windows AMD and Windows ARM, and we have Darwin as well. So let's go ahead and CD back to the correct directory where our Linux binary is going to be. And yeah, let me go ahead and show you guys the command and the format for how you're going to be using AzureHound. Okay, so firstly, we're obviously going to be running the AzureHound binary, and we're going to specify first the user by using the -u flag, password with the -p flag, and we're going to be using list, tenant ID with the tenant flag, and then the output file indicated by the -o flag. And it's as simple as that. So let's go ahead and run that and watch it start collecting everything. Great. So let's copy this bad boy over to our lab directory. Great. Now we have the output JSON over here. And now all we have to do is ingest BloodHound with this JSON, and then we can start enumerating the database. Here we are. Okay, now all we have to do is wait for it to load, and we will be good to go. As you can see here under status, it is currently ingesting. So while that's doing that, let's go ahead and go to the Explore tab and talk a little bit about that. So here in the Explore tab, it says there's no data available yet, but it's currently ingesting. But I want to talk a little bit about what this Explore tab has to offer. Currently in the search tab, you can search for specific nodes. That means you can search for specific users or roles or resources, and then we can zero in on that resource or role or user in order to check its properties and find connections that way. However, pathfinding is pretty cool in that you can use that to find actual paths between different users and resources that you want to attack. So for example, if we have Joe's, we can check if there's like a path between Joe's and a domain admin. Speaking of, Cypher is where what I just said comes in very, very handy and easily, in that it offers you the ability to use queries, both pre-made queries and custom queries if you have them, in order to find these common misconfigured attack paths, these common attack chains that like your user to a domain admin, or service principals to a domain admin, and things like that, as I'll show you. Okay, looks like it's complete, so maybe we just needed to refresh the tab. Amazing, so let's go ahead and search for our Joe's Rodriguez. Great, so as you can see here, we can see a whole lot of properties for him. And once again, we have the ability to see that he is in fact a part of IT Help Desk. And he has a bunch of roles. These roles are in fact through IT Help Desk. So what we weren't able to see in RoadRecon, we can now see here. And we have attribute assignment reader, attribute definition reader, printer technician, and directory reader. Amazing. So let's screenshot these. And let's take them over to our ChatGPT and say to ChatGPT, for each of these roles, find the documentation online and give me an overview and include a security implication for each as to what a compromised user with these roles can give access to. Great, so now while that's doing the research for us, let's go ahead and check the pathfinding tab here. let's say domain. Okay, so I believe I had an example for this. Joe's to asset update. So let's see, for example, if we wanted to find a pathway between Joe's to asset update. Now, this is just a small example to kind of display the pathfinding functionality. So here, as you can see, we have access to assets update, the group, because our member of, AZ member of, connects us to IT Help Desk, which has another AZ member of, Edge, to the node assets update. So if you will, IT Help Desk is a nested group within assets update, and we are in IT Help Desk. Thus, we are also in assets update. So that's just kind of a little bit of a demo or demonstration for how attack paths can be found through pathfinding. Now let's go ahead and check into Cypher. So as you can see here, it's prompting us to insert a query. However, if we press on this little folder icon, you can see that there are many pre-built searches that we can use. Going over to the Azure tab, we can, for example, see all global administrators really quickly. Philip Ian Austin, Philip Garcia, Mike Jones, Adrian, Bruce, all global admins, and are also all lab makers. So let's see, all members of high privileged roles. Okay, it looks like there's another help desk. There's a help desk admin here, Anthony Diaz. That seems a little interesting. Ali, Megabig Tech, user admin, Alexandria, Wu, user admin. Okay, amazing. See if there's a shortest path to. Whoa, okay. Lots of stuff here. And no, it actually looks like it's just the same admins that are being displayed here. However, if we can maybe get our hands onto another user, then this could be a little bit more interesting. So let's see what ChatGPT found for us. Attribute assignment reader. The attribute assignment reader role in Entra allows a user to read, view custom security attribute keys and values supported for Microsoft Entra objects, users, service principals, devices, etc. Well, this is pretty interesting because if we're allowed to read custom security attribute keys and values, then why not we enumerate all the users for these custom security keys and attribute keys and values to see if we can find something. Especially since we are in the help desk group, it could be possible that the help desk was inputting some kind of confidential information within these attribute keys and values in order to keep track or provide some support to the users themselves. So let's go ahead and enumerate that. Now I have a command to do so. I have this command to loop through the users to find security attribute keys and values here. However, we do need to connect to the MG graph first. Okay. So let's get all the users first. So if you're not familiar, we're simply storing all the users within this variable. And now what we're going to do, we're going to use a for each loop in order to loop through all of these users that we just stored and find security attributes using this user attributes.customer security attributes additional properties, and we're formatting it into a list. And we're of course separating it with this. So as you can see here, we found a key called help desk. So this was obviously the help desk that set this key and value. And then the value is included here as a password. It's called data security. So lo and behold, the help desk made a vulnerability as a human sourced error. Unfortunate, however, it happens. All right, so let's see what else we got. Amazing. So let's go ahead and sign into this account and see what it has to offer us. Oh, sorry. Before we sign into this account, let's go back to the GUI. And in the GUI, there's actually a settings operating system user data for this security PC. If you recall, we found this security PC, yet we didn't yet enumerate the user data. So just like this security property, the key and value that we just found, another user error, another human-oriented error that can occur is that the help desk or the IT can assign user data to the computer. Now, this is just to make life easier, but however, unfortunately, does serve as a misconfiguration because an attacker that reaches the user data can very often find confidential information for them to use to further their engagement. So let's go to settings, operating system. Here it is, user data. And yep, as you can see, we found credentials for another user, security user, and with the password imposeccost. All right. So let's go ahead and log in with this user. All right, so we have security user already with the username and password, it seems. We're going to go ahead and sign in. Great, signed in, no problems or MFA. And now let's use this command that is written for us here in the user data of the machine. So this is a simple case where the help desk or the IT team place the misconfiguration for themselves just to make life easier. And in this command, we're using AZ storage in order to access a storage blob and download from the account, storage account, security configs, a container, or a file rather, called config latest.xml within the container called security PC. So auth mode is login, and let's run this. All right, so here we find a bunch of neat information for us to use. Firstly, we have Ryan over here with an actual admin, or rather the password includes admin in it. And what else we got? Seems like we also have a bunch of information. I believe we also have some database credentials. Yeah, database configuration, DB user, password DB at, or DB password. And yeah, seems pretty interesting. Also some IPs. You can go ahead and try to scan these IPs real quick. And see what that yields, if it yields anything. Then possibly we can look to connect to a DB account. All right, it's still scanning. Let's take a look at what the ending of this lab looks like. Security PC, yeah, we enumerated that. Okay, so it seems like we have reached the ending of the lab, but it says to check out, it says, hey, why not check out the GUI and check the portal to see the same thing as well. So we can go ahead and do that. No access to anything. Oh, here we are. Here we are in the storage account. Go over to the storage browser. Connection error. All right, so here we are, and we have accessed the same storage blobs in GUI. And as you can see here, we have recently viewed blob containers, logs, and security PC. So let's see what's inside here. Let's go to the other one. Security PC, config latest, as well as the flag. Yeah, so here we have this hash. Now this hash could be the flag as well, but the flag could also be the flag too. So let's go back to the other one. Flag.text. So this lab was an incredible lab, and here I believe this is the flag. This lab was an incredible lab that kind of showed us a demonstration of BloodHound, although we also checked out RoadRecon. and did some manual enumeration as well. We enumerated the graph, the MG Graph API. And yeah, overall, tell me how you like this lab in the comments below. Tell me what you would like to see in the future, anything you liked or didn't like about the video. And thank you very much, and I'll see you later.